Hi friends, this is Aylin Aydin, your astrologer and tarot reader, and this is your seasonal tarot reading for the spring of 2021. In this seasonal tarot reading, there's a couple of things that we're going to be going over. So I'm going to outline every single one of those things that we're going to be going over before we get started. So this reading covers everything you need to know for the spring season of 2021. The first thing that we're going to start out with, though, is a collective message reading with all of the elements. And as we go through the elements and through the cards that I have pulled for the elements, I will be explaining what it all means. The second thing that we're going to go over is the tarot reading for your personal sign that covers each of the lunar phases during this season. The first phase that we're going to be focusing on is the new cycle beginning with the new moon in Aries. The second phase we'll focus on is the new cycle beginning with the new moon in Taurus. And then the third phase that we're going to be focusing on is the new cycle that begins with the new moon in Gemini. Let's get started with the collective message. Now, the collective message is going to consist of 5 elements that we're going to cover for this entire season. It is going to be fire, water, earth, air, and space. And as we cover these, I'm going to give more examples of what the elements stand for. Now, majority of us already know or have a relationship to these elements that I'm going to be going over. But if you're drawn to certain elements, make sure you come back and listen to them again. Or you could also just put together a bigger kind of message for yourself through your sun, moon, or rising sign. Now, the very first thing that I'm going to be covering is the element of fire. Fire stands for the self, for our body, for the way in which we use our strength, mind, body, spirit all together to put things into action. It's also an element that stands for action. And the collective message here, the 2 tarot cards that fell out, was the 4 of Swords and the 8 of Pentacles reversed. So what we can expect during this spring season is that we're going to feel a little bit restless. We're also going to feel restless because we're trying to figure out and narrow down what it is that we should be focusing on. And I think that that is the reason why this was reversed, because a lot of our focus during this spring season is going to be on everything that we're trying to accomplish, or we're trying to ignite a new path. So there is sort of this moment here where a lot of our actions will be sort of coming with a lot of intensity. And I think that it's also going to be focusing a lot on just giving ourselves an opportunity to begin again and to move forward again. Now, with the fire element, there is also an oracle card that I have felt drawn to pull for this spring season, and that is the dolphin. And it says, embrace your inner child. And I really feel that what this message is all about is that we are to look at the things that we truly, truly love. Now let's move on to the water element. The water element, there's a bunch of cards that fell out here. So we're going to go through it one by one. The water element is our emotions, but really what is being reflected in our day-to-day. What kind of emotional currency are we going to be moving through all throughout this season? I think that when we are coming up to the full moon in the first lunar cycle, what we are discovering is that there is a strength that is returning within us. The Queen of Wands fell out. It's really just going to be about a strength, or we're going to discover a moment here. It's going to be an aha moment that, you know, gives us sort of an answer that we have been looking for, and it reignites our faith. That's what I'm seeing here with the Queen of Wands. The second card that fell out is the 7 of Wands reversed. I think that we're going to feel quite kind of tired by the time we get to that full moon. The reason for that is because, again, the energies are very intense during the beginning of this spring season with that new moon cycle in Aries. And there's just a lot that we're trying to accomplish in a short period of time. So it seems that's what the cards are showing us here. But even if even if we take a look at the astrological transits, that is what we're seeing as well. We're moving forward. The energy is moving us forward. And so what we are discovering during this time is that this is our opportunity to step into our destiny, our fate. There's a lot of fated events that might be unfolding in your life. And if this really speaks to you, this is going to be a moment where you have to sort of take a moment to gauge if this opportunity is worth pursuing, right? Because opportunities are going to be arising, but not every opportunity is going to bring us what we're looking for. And so here you must remind yourself of the past. Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is basically saying, are you repeating something from the past because you're trying to, get a particular emotion back into your life? But does it have to come through this one thing? Does it have to be through this one person? Does it have to be through this one company, this one, job, this one path that you thought all of your life would be the only way that you would feel accomplished? The Five of Cups here is saying, is this really what it is that you're trying to accomplish, or are you repeating the past? Make sure you're listening to your heart. Make sure you're listening to the clues, right? Like take a moment to gather all the information and then see emotionally what feels right. Because, your own inner heart wisdom knows the answers. And I think that's what the Five of Cups is saying here. You must take the past into consideration. Now, the spiritual guidance card is Sandbar. Okay. It says discovery of new pathways and opportunities. Yes, absolutely. There is going to be new pathways and opportunities. But again, we must actually look for those opportunities as well during the season. So a lot of it will come to us. But then if you feel that you're repeating the past, there is going to be another way. There is going to be another way. And you must stay open in order to see it. And that's what I'm seeing here. So emotionally, what are we taking a look at? We're taking a look at, focusing on being hopeful and focusing on being curious, focusing on love. Do we love it? Yes, no. That is how we're gauging all throughout this spring season. For the earth element, the one tarot card that fell out here is the Two of Wands. This is so interesting because I really feel that we are going to be looking at how to put value back into our life through the lens of where we belong emotionally. Where do we belong in the world emotionally? What is it we desire? Who are the people that need to be in our lives or that we envision that are in our lives, right? So these are the things that we're going to be looking at. I also feel like a lot of us will be finding new sets of values because our values have changed. So that is another really big thing, I think, with the Two of Wands. It's a very simple message for the earth element. Now, for the spiritual advice, we have Poseidon. Emotions are intense. Be cautious of how you treat others. So I really do feel that because we're going to be in a very passionate season, I think that what a lot of us can expect is that we're going to be clearing a lot of misunderstandings in our relationship dynamics. That's number one. I also think that we're going to be clearing the way for us to know now where we emotionally belong in the future. I think that that is going to be a very big role based on our values. We're to ground ourselves in this area emotionally and to look for genuine connection. I think that is going to be another really, really big part here. Now, the other thing that I'm seeing with this Poseidon card is that there is sort of this moment where we could be creating a storm in our lives, which is what Poseidon really represented anyway in Greek mythology. He was feared for being the person that created storms. And so I think that what we are to watch out for is how we're communicating our values to other people, because during this time, we could be emotionally very sharp. And what we're saying could really hurt another person. And so I think that we have to be mindful of how we are communicating what it is that we feel on the inside out there. There is also going to be new information that is going to come up that will help everyone to connect the dots. There is more information that's coming up for the collective, for out into the open, for people to see, that will allow for us to connect the dots. This will have to do with science. This will have to do with scientific research. This will also have to do with anything that needs more scientific research. And so I think that during this time, we're going to feel very passionate. For the air element, our intellect, the way in which we are going to be thinking, the way in which we might communicate, or the way in which we get inspired, we have the 9 of Wands. I think that what we're realizing is that there are certain things in our lifestyle that we are now seeing in the collective way that is just not worth defending anymore, or is worth defending. So we're going to have both sides here. I also am seeing with the spiritual advice card, Bird of Paradise, embark on a new adventure. Yes, there are going to be new ways in which we're wanting to dissolve past boundaries so that we can live our life in a different kind of a way. So there could be moments where you might just sort of decide that you want to do something very different because the opportunity presents itself. And I think that the way that you want to do this something different is going to come through is by you getting sort of a piece of communication that empowers you. I think we can really count on that, especially during May when we get into that new moon cycle, or that entire phase with the new moon beginning in Taurus. I think what's going to happen is that we're going to be in this place where we're going to want to reach further beyond what we used to do in our day-to-day. And now that opportunity is there. Now we're wanting to grab that opportunity and we want to go with it. I also think that there is going to be a lot of people that will start to share what has happened to them in the last year and a half, who they've become, who they've seen, what has happened, to them, and what exactly the shifts are that are happening within them. For the last element, which is space. Space basically representing what are we to hold space for in our lives during this particular season. The one card, tarot card that fell out is the Page of Wands. And that is interesting. The Page of Wands is like a new learning curve about ourselves. So we're going to continue to learn more about who we're becoming. We're also going to be continuing to learn about how to trust the actions that we're taking. I think that there is this moment where we are to trust, especially right before the eclipse, we are to trust that what is happening and what is unfolding in our lives is exactly what is meant to be. Because some things are fate, and then some things will also mix with fate and our free will, obviously. But here, the Page of Wands basically says, look, you have to trust the feeling that you have. You have to trust the value that you have in your life. And it is leading you, it is guiding you somewhere. And it might be a new intimate connection that you have with people, with your career, with certain values in your life, and you are to trust it. And the spiritual message cards, there's 3 of them that came out. The first one is anchor. Be hopeful, choose optimism. I think that there can be some cynicism that could come up, right? If the card were to be reversed, if we don't take the opportunity, even though the energies are very good and the energies will be guiding us into a new perspective that we can anchor into, that we can have faith and hope over, that we can have optimism over. So as the collective, we are learning how to trust the actions that are being taken. And then there's also going to be moments where we're going to see who we cannot trust. Because it always goes both ways, right? It's not just one way, like everything is rainbows and lollipops, it is going to go both ways. And so I think that there is going to be moments where we will actually see that we cannot trust this one person, or we've trusted the wrong kind of, situation. And so that is going to come up as well. And the second spiritual message for trust and holding, new kinds of trust in our life is the fish. And again, the foundation for it is going to be, what are we trusting? Who are we trusting? And first and foremost, are we trusting ourselves so that the balance can come in? The third spiritual message is the starfish. Trust your instincts. So what's interesting about the starfish is that the starfish is a very complex creature. It actually doesn't have a brain. It has a very complex nervous system. The starfish also speaks about the fact that when we take a look at the starfish and the life of the starfish in and of itself, it relies on its environment for survival. So these types of themes are going to be coming up. The space that we're coming into, especially when we get into the Gemini season, there is going to be moments where we're going to realize that there are certain dependencies that we have in our environment that are being betrayed. And because they're being betrayed, we are now to trust a new path. We're now to trust something else. And where is that something else going to come from? You know, this is what we're looking at with the starfish, right? There is a betrayal of some sort that is going on to the values that we used to hold, or we thought we were putting all of our trust into this one thing in our environment, whether that's the food industry, whether that is some kind of, area of our life specific to where we live in our environment, that now we see is actually not what it is. And I think that with the starfish, it is hope. The message is hope that we can overcome betrayal. And the way that we can do that is by bringing the communication, or bringing basically an appreciation back to respecting ourselves and nature, respecting our environment, respecting the very thing that has been, where the boundary has been crossed. I think that's what we're seeing with the starfish here. It's really, really interesting. So between these three, anchoring down, finding the balance, and the starfish, there is something big that is going to start to come up in Gemini season, new forms of communication in your particular environment that will impact or have an impact that is not so favorable. And it has to do with some kind of betrayal, or some kind of, where the boundaries are being crossed for money, where there is sort of actions being taken without the consideration of the greater good. Something like this is going to be coming up during Gemini season. And I think that what we are being asked here is to hold space for that to happen, because sometimes we just don't know that certain things are going on in the background. So this is something that is going on in the background that is going to come up to the surface. And I think that what we are to do is actually hold space for that, because we are to help each other during this season to really come back to our center, a center to respect who we are, and a center to respect what is happening in our lives. Because when things go in the wrong direction, we need a moment to actually see why they went into the wrong direction. So I think that the starfish is communicating that through this card right here. So that's what I'm seeing here for the space element. Now, before we dive into your sign, I do want to quickly mention that I do offer readings in person, and I also do video recordings that I do send to you with a private link. And if you would like to book any of my readings, that information is in the description box below. Right now, I do have a tarot reading, which is a video recording that I do for you personally, that is on sale, 30% off. So if you're interested in working with me a little bit closer, then you can book that reading. And everything that you need to know, again, is either at upriseastrology.com or in the description box below. So now let's take a look at your personal zodiac sign. You can listen to your sun, moon, or rising, or you can listen to all three if you know it, to kind of get a bigger reading and to know what is going to be coming up over the next 3 months. The time that you're in right now is a really special time, because it is creating a safe space for you to review a particular aspect of your life that directly correlates to your lifestyle. This is your lifestyle. This has to do with the things that you used to believe about your lifestyle, and you now getting an opportunity to recharge your heart and to reinvent your lifestyle and habits and patterns and create new ones. And I think that there is like a wish or a desire to kind of move things forward when it comes to challenges that have to do with either creating more abundance in your life through money, or trying to create more resources for yourself so that you can kind of feel that you are headed in the right direction. But before you're headed there, I feel like that what this month is doing, it is sorting through things that you must kind of secure. And that is what this majority of this reading and this phase is going to be about. So what I want to do is I want to just go right into getting into the cards, kind of on a surface level, what the cards kind of mean, what they're talking to. Then we're going to take a look at what the clarifiers are. We're going to clarify each and every card for this phase. We will then dive into another layer for spiritual messages or anything else that you need to hear in regards to the cards and how they correlate to each other. And then we'll go into the last couple of spiritual messages. So the Six of Wands is an energy where I feel like you're coming into a time now where you have time to focus on listening to your life from a different angle. The Six of Wands is a strong card. It is a card that says that you have all of the right balances now to trust your inner knowing. This is what this is going to be about. We see the wreath that is on that right underneath the fire. She has her hands up, welcoming the connection that she is feeling, and she's open and ready for anything. And there is a fire within that is well balanced. The wreath, that circle, that kind of weaving in from one flower to another is the connection that your energy is going to be at a place where it is ready to kind of confront or take a look at how to move things forward. And that is the predominant energy all throughout this month. What you are becoming aware of is that you had taken some actions, or you had taken certain directions in your life with that Queen of Swords reversed that you were feeling very inspired about, and you wanted these things to become sort of a form in your life. So you made this decision a while back, and now this decision that you have made that has a lot to do with exploration. It has a lot to do with like exploring imagination, learning new things, and also how to actually allow for things to become like more of a form, like a reality in your life. It could have been a course. It could have been someone that you took on some kind of coaching. It could have been as simple as picking up a book, but you wanted to explore how to kind of empower yourself in your heart space, in your purpose, whether that was career, relationship, or any other area of your life. I see that this is kind of circling back around because there is a decision to be made in regards to how to move on. And it's very specific to your journey. The Page of Swords reversed is basically saying that you're circling back around because there is something to cleanse from this era. There's something to cleanse, something to let go, and to understand that everything that you are doing right now directly correlates to a specific time for you to emerge back into the world with your talents, your skill sets, and perhaps you're already working on that. Okay, so there is something in regards to what you are really good at doing that it is circling back around for you to review, because there is sort of a thing that you need to forgive yourself for or someone else. Okay, those are the two key areas. Either you need to forgive yourself or this other person. Someone may have also blocked your forward progress in this area. If it wasn't yourself, it could have been the other person. So that forgiveness is popping up for me for you here with the Page of Swords. You couldn't move on the way that you wanted to. It could have been a teacher that taught you something, you wanted to move forward, and then something happened here. You went off into another path or another, kind of area in this theme that we just mentioned, and perhaps you lost having a graceful kind of approach towards this and yourself as a result of it. So we're going to dive deeper into it. The Judgment reversed basically says that you are kind of going to be in a place where you're going to come back to respecting your very own cycle here. It has to do with your emotions, but what have you not protected within what you are to respect within your own cycle, within the season that you're in right now? And it has a lot to do also with the way in which it has the themes are giving and receiving. Okay, those are the themes. And it has to do also with your lifestyle. So body, right? Energy levels, things that you may not be doing right now, that you are to do right now. And you are going to be in a place where that Six of Wands is directly over the Judgment reversed, where you're going to see where there is sort of a missing in the boundary setting, the kind of space that you need to create for yourself. The Judgment reverse basically says we get an opportunity to look at something we mastered within ourselves, like an emotion that you came very close to, that you started to master, really listening to yourself, really honoring sort of a portion of your life, a voice that speaks to you, an inner knowing that speaks to you, but you are to protect it. And that, I think, is something that is going to be coming up as a review as well, which is going to give you a forward movement. Once you grasp this, the Judgment card reverse, which is going to be the most amazing thing for you in this cycle, you're able to move on. And it comes also with you moving away from anything that you cannot rely on, from anything that you used to follow, that you now know this is not your area. This is not the emotion you are a part of anymore. That is what the message is from this Eight of Cups. We're going to take a look at it though. Okay, because there might be something here that we need to see. We need to be careful with this Eight of Cups, okay? Because it could be that you could also be walking away because you're just doing it maybe out of a fear, which is also fine, right? Because if you need to protect yourself, but we need to take a look at, there's more messages here with the Eight of Cups. Then you go from the 8 to the 9, which is awesome, okay? And the promise here is that you're going to be building a much more loyal space. And that includes other people. That includes a stronger version of yourself. But it also includes sort of, I feel like that you are going to be building something where other people can be a part of it, whatever it is. So it could be in your career. It could also be in general with family members. I also see that this will directly correlate to you, within you, like just feeling overall more like that you are creating a much better relationship to yourself when it comes to your beliefs, when it comes to where to open up in life and where not to open up in life. Okay, because you're understanding your very own personal comfort levels within the lifestyle, what you want to protect and what needs that protection right now, and what is already protected, giving you a platform to move forward, which is the 10 of Pentacles. Okay, the 10 of Pentacles basically says, loyalty is there. You're seeing the bigger picture. You're going to be able to honor the promises you're making to yourself first and foremost, which is what the 10 of Pentacles is about. And as a result, what will come out of it is a much stronger financial foundation as well. So if you are thinking about getting a project off the ground, I'm just going to tell you right now, it is going to be successful. And it comes also with a sense of understanding that everything that you're doing right now, be patient because it is going to be happening. What you're doing to kind of hold space for creating something a lot more solid for yourself so you can deal actually with those kinds of energies, because you're very in tune with the energies that are coming and going. And so for you, this might be something to kind of just say hello to in this reading, because to say hello to that energy, just because sometimes we can forget, that these kinds of energies can influence us as well. So I just wanted to say that. Okay, let's go ahead and clarify every single one of the cards. The 6 of Wands is the energy that is moving you forward all across. What you are connecting to at this time is trusting yourself and trusting particular relationships in your life too. The 2 of Hearts here is going to be relationships that honor for you to be who you want to be and for you to follow your own heart. There are some relationships in your life that are honoring this. And then there are some relationships in your life that don't, and those will be even more visible than they ever have been before. That's what we're seeing here with the 6 of Wands. The Queen of Swords energy, it does correlate to money. It could also be money challenges that you have been working on or are outstanding. Could be some bills you're trying to pay off. Could be some things that you're trying to close out. But it also correlates to a decision that you've made a while back, an investment that you have made a while back into some kind of mentorship or some kind of studies or understanding more about an area of life that you wanted to learn, maybe a skill set, or you wanted to do something. The third option I'm seeing for some of you Cancers is that you moved. Okay, you moved from one destination to another recently. Recently, I am going to say not about the last like 2 years. That's the recent I'm talking about. And so now you are to begin again, and you are to learn again how to move things forward from where you're at. Some of you are going to be doing this forward movement more than you're anticipating. So after the 24th of this month, the 24th of April, you are going to be moving the energy forward much faster. And I don't think that you are anticipating that, because up until that point, you are still going to be in this place where you're reviewing the past. And the energies might be a little bit, how do I say it? Like, you know, when you turn the music up too loud and you can't hear, kind of like almost feeling like you're in a Mercury retrograde, but you're not. That's kind of what I'm getting here, is that up until the 24th, you're going to be feeling that. So the next card that we're seeing for the Page of Swords reversed is, well, the 10 of Spades is that you're coming to a conclusion. Okay, you're going to come to a conclusion about yourself, your path, your fears, and anything that speaks to karma. Any action you took, any action you didn't take, where you're at right now. Because whatever you've learned, whatever you've gotten yourself involved in, whatever move that you have made, all of it ties into this 10 of Spades. The 10 of Spades is an awesome card because it allows for you to have the strength to kind of deal with things so that you can look into your future. Another very strong thing that I'm seeing here with the 10 of Spades is that you are going to have epiphanies all throughout the month in regards to the future. But you may be fearing the future. Something like this is going to come up, and that is where the gold is at. When you have empathy with yourself for what is coming up, because you don't want to repeat the same mistake from the past, this is where you get to be understanding of yourself and forgiving towards yourself and others. Okay? There are relationships that are going to play a role in all of this. So once Mars moves into Cancer, you're going to be able to be in a space where you're going to be able to forgive yourself or someone else for how things have gone and how you wanted to see things and how they didn't unfold that way. And when you start to do that, I think that what happens is you create this incredible space to begin again. And that is what's so important here. So empathy is the way to drive this Page of Swords reversed if you have a situation like that. Now, for some of you Cancers, if you don't have a situation like that, the second scenario that I'm seeing here, because it's not going to be the same for every Cancer zodiac sign, the second thing that I'm seeing here is that you might be in this place where you're really wanting to cleanse body, mind, and your environment of toxins. So some of you are going to be dealing with connecting to what is sort of getting in the way for you to live a healthy life. And so when you're in that place, you're able to have the strength to deal with it with a 10 of Spades. So that's going to be another huge thing for a lot of you. The Ace of Hearts for the Judgment. So this is really interesting as well, because here you are finally seeing the missing ingredient when it comes to your lifestyle. Your day-to-day is going to change. And the day-to-day is going to change because your lifestyle habits are changing now. And there are interruptions. You know, wherever you're at right now, whatever it is that you're doing, there are going to be interruptions. And these interruptions are going to be the best thing that could have happened to you, because they're going to be connecting to you to the things that you love. They're going to bring more love into your space. Okay, that is what we're seeing here with the Ace of Hearts. Very simple. It is going to be a rebirth of a new lifestyle, a new habit, perhaps even several. I do see that you are in a place where you're planning again, and you're becoming sort of, you're coming sort of back into a plan. A plan is necessary here, but it's born out of an emotion. Some of you, I also see that you must do something that allows for you to move the energy in your body. So any kind of exercise, But the preferred exercise is where you get to connect to your way of being more. So it could be yoga, it could be dancing, it could be Tai Chi, whatever it is in those types of realms of workouts with music in particular, or even doing anything like playing an instrument is going to be huge to kind of allow for this reverse judgment energy to surface up even more. Because where you're at is you are beginning again in this cycle to honor a new one. And that is what becomes so clear, I feel like, for a lot of you, is that you are in this place where you're respecting sort of the cycles in your life that are unfolding now. And it is a new one. It is one where perhaps even some of you might even still be moving, or you're looking at a new space. And so here the Ace of Hearts says, stay open. It doesn't have to look the same way you used to plan your day, or the same way that you used to connect to spirit in order to plan moving forward. So if there were rituals, things that you were doing right now, you are to begin again from a new space, because you are to see things from a much higher perspective. That's key. The 9 of Spades on top of the 8 of Cups, really interesting, because you have been sort of maybe grieving over something that you used to live in, or something you used to do that you really, really loved. A part of you that used to do something that was so important to you. And now you are in this place where you're allowing for this grievance to happen. So sometimes it could be as simple as you used to have coffee in this one place. You used to go to the ocean at this one particular destination, or you used to go like have this particular like bakery, at a particular time. Something like this, I feel like, in the day-to-day that you used to do, super simple, that now is no longer a part of your life because of the changes that are happening. And so I think that this 9 of Spades here basically says the 8 of Cups is an energy where you already walked away from a lot of the things that you needed to cut out of your life. And perhaps some of those things are also happening now that emotionally aren't the best for you, that aren't allowing for you to stand in your own, because they just impact you. Not that they're bad, but it's just so strong that right now, in the place that you're in, it might just be something that impacts you, and it doesn't allow for you to be your best, whatever that means to you. And so with the 9 of Spades, I think that what the message here is, anything this month in regards to acceptance, in regards to your ability to accept the right kind of responsibilities for you, that is key, because that is what's going to give you hope for what it is that you're trying to create. And it's directly correlated to relying on yourself, because perhaps you used to think that you needed to rely on someone else's advice in order to move forward in a particular way, or you are now realizing that you no longer can rely on this advice or this coaching or this person, this something in your life, and you are to walk away from it. That is the mastery with this 8 of Cups and the 9 of Spades. The 9 of Cups, a beautiful forward movement. Look at that. And then the 8 of Hearts. The 9 of Cups basically says you are realizing that by you mastering, walking away from that thing that is kind of close to your heart, that is what is going to basically triumph over the fear of letting this aspect go and believing now in a new self. A new sense of self. But it starts with a loyalty that you have towards yourself and your own heart and your purpose. That is what is so, so important. And then what is born out of it is that you're going to make a new promise to yourself. And that's what I'm seeing here with the 10 of Pentacles. You're making a new promise to yourself. You are making a new sort of, it might be unspoken, right? You might be writing about it. You might be sort of coming about it out of nowhere. One morning, I feel like when you wake up, you're just so crystal clear. Again, this is going to happen more towards after the 24th. You just wake up, you're super crystal clear. You understand what you need to let go, King of Hearts. So amazing.
And then there is sort of a sense of loyalty here, because you understand now that whatever it is that you're going to be creating is going to fortify healthy connections in your life as a result of it, because you're treating yourself better. It is super, super important to get that here as well. Beautiful, Cancer. Really beautiful. Beautiful reading. Okay, now we're going to look at the last couple of spiritual messages for every single one of them. A deeply healing time. The lily is a representation of that. It is a deeply healing time. It is a time where you're going to, just change your perspective. We have the globe, so you're able to see things from a different perspective. That's what the globe is standing for. We have the tulip, so a healing occurs and a new sense of self emerges out of it. And that sense of self has to do with you being in a more, freer version of yourself, more close to who you are, more close to forgiveness. Okay, because when we're able to forgive a situation and accept it, we tend to recharge. We tend to let that energy go. It doesn't have grip over our life in the same kind of a way. And you are to come back to yourself right now and to let go of old ways in which you used to relate to yourself, and know that the epiphanies you're going to have about the future, they're going to really give you what it is that you need. The grape. Grapes are beautiful. They are also very cleansing in nature. Okay? Grapes are very cleansing in nature. Grapes also symbolize abundance. So money is going to be moving forward. Perhaps not everything you want to see in regards to money is going to happen this month, but it is going to happen. It depends on you also realizing that, again, you're in a new season. And you, out of all signs, you know anyway the best about all of the seasons, because you know how to deal with them. And clearing this sort of time where you also use whatever is happening right now to your advantage. Not because you're selfish, not because of any of that, but because there's so much wisdom in what is happening in your life right now. And there is sort of a welcoming that you are preparing for, because there's new beginnings right around the corner. When you come into that Taurus season and you start that new moon in Taurus, those new beginnings are going to be knocking on your door, and they're going to be really good. Again, you might feel like you're walking really slow this month. We have the snail. You might be walking really slow, but trust that you're not walking slow. What you are slowing down is to build a stronger version of your life and to make a new promise. That is what you're doing right now. And that is so, so important to point out here with all of the cards. So, solitude is your best friend. Solitude brings you guidance. Simplicity creates a new fertile ground, a new space for you to realize what you need to put into your life that moves things forward, creates a rebirth. And that thing is empathy. Okay. And then here, security is born out of you allowing to accept the right kind of responsibilities in your life and find acceptance in the things that you're wanting to create. And that in and of itself creates a new sense of security within yourself. It creates a new healthy connection between you and others in your life as well. And then we have the skunk spirit. Know your worth. If there is any animal that knows their worth, it is the skunk. It's like really interesting that you got the skunk spirit here with this deck, with the spiritual message, because where you belong right now in your life is going to be shown. Where your heart belongs, where you belong, what you want to do, how you want to go about it, that is your superpower this particular phase, Cancer. Now, the new moon in Taurus starts out for you very much with a fresh start. There is a fresh start. It looks like that a lot of you are going to be changing the course in destiny. And it is happening through some fated events that you kickstarted way back in September. And so that was, September of last year. And so Ace of Cups, this is going to be about you breaking some form of isolation that you have had in a particular area of your life. And this has to do with networks of people. This has to do with friends. This has to do with even just your long-term goals, because there are going to be new people that are entering your life that you're going to be considering, or it could be that you're reviving some of the connections that you have with people that are very important to you, that will be sort of on your path, and they will be kind of navigating or helping navigate some of the future aims that you have. However, it comes with more of a friendship kind of vibe. That's what I'm getting here with the Ace of Cups. Okay. Also, we have the Six of Wands reversed. Now, this is really interesting because, again, I love when we're reading like this for the entire season, because the Six of Wands here is circling back around, except for this time the position of it is different. So in the last reading, the Six of Wands was in the first position, it was upright, and in this position the Six of Wands is reversed. And what we're taking a look at here is that you are really much reviewing emotionally a lot about people in your life that are doing the same purpose as you. There's something like that. The second option is that you guys are going to be reviewing your romantic partnerships, okay, or partnerships in general, like the way that you feel about your partnerships and things that you're trying to create within your partnership. That is going to be really important as well for some of you, because you're trying to kind of maybe revive like a certain aspect there, and this is going to become another very important thing. Again, this is an option, right? Because it's a general reading, so I try to narrow the options down for you guys. So it could be that you're, again, looking at career partnerships, or you're looking at romantic partnerships. And then the third option that I'm also getting is that some of you are going to be taking a look at your kind of your role within people that you that are in your life that either have like a spiritual purpose, or it could be your children. Okay, so I'm seeing that the Six of Wands here is going to be kind of letting you know that there's something to be to work on during this month, some kind of connection or some kind of ease when it comes to the way in which you share yourself. That is something that is going to be coming through, that you're getting present to, you're gaining awareness this month, which is not a bad thing. It can always, kind of turn things around even for the better. But again, this requires for you to kind of do something with this energy, and we're going to take a look at it. The Knight of Pentacles. This is going to be interesting because I think that you are going to be taking a look at a particular aspect of your life that also has to do with money. And what you're going to be doing here is, I really strongly feel like that you are going to get some advice, or you're having to kind of seek help from someone in regards to how to move forward with a particular aspect. There's either legal papers involved in it, or some kind of paperwork involved in it, or it could be that you are creating something new financially and you're needing to take a look at how you're going to do it, what you're going to do about it, but it is exciting. At first, it may not be, but it is exciting on the other side of it. So that's what I'm seeing with the Knight. But that's what I'm seeing here with the Knight of Pentacles. And then we move to the Page of Pentacles, which is really interesting to me, because not only are you taking a look at kind of moving something forward, trying to put some action in when it comes to the finances, looking at this, getting some advice, but then you also realize that there are certain, as you're approaching this path and setting this in motion, you're going to the Page of Pentacles, and then you sort of realize what your set of skills are, what you're really, really good at doing, and what you should be focusing on, right? So in order for you to make this money situation work, you are sort of realizing, oh, this is what I'm good at. This is what I should be focusing on, because I have been here I can really trust myself. I can really do this. The Page of Pentacles is kind of teaching you that all over again. The Five of Wands is an energy that you're going to have to work with, because whatever you're doing is going to require effort. Not that you cannot put the effort in, but I think that the effort comes with a mirror. And that mirror has to do with you letting yourself be seen. So what really comes up very strongly, the Five of Wands here, is that you are having these moments, I feel like, during this phase where you're confronting old sort of mind fears, or you're just like in this place where you realize that you have to sort of, push on through to the other side. That's what I'm seeing. It's almost like there's a moment here where you realize that you need to let yourself be seen. That is what's being mirrored back. Perhaps you don't know what the kind of impacts are going to be if you do this thing, or if you take this next step, or if you share really in this kind of a way. And whatever that kind of a way is, we're going to narrow it down how to navigate it. I also feel like that because you are, in this Five of Wands energy, where you cannot sort of give into this moment where you need to turn back. Like, I feel like maybe in the past you've said to yourself, I'm not going to put this effort in, I'm going to turn back. Like, I'm just not going to do it because it was just too much. You would rather go back into, what you knew. But this month is really trying to push your value up, like really, really up. And it requires risk taking. So I think that there could be sort of a little bit of this, I don't want to take this risk, I don't want to do it situation. Now, I do see very strongly for some of you, you will also be in a position where you will be offered a new kind of opportunity that could lead to something, but I just don't think it's going to. So if you are in that position, really gauge, ask more questions. More questions will reveal what the actual responsibilities are going to be here. That's another thing, someone comes sort of back into the picture that has very similar vibes to promising something this is how it's going to be and it's going to be great and all this other stuff. And it just, the vibe that I'm getting from this is that you would have to put in a lot more effort, a lot more work, and there's a lot more responsibility than what this person is maybe showing or actually sharing. So I feel like right over here with that Five of Wands, you're taking a look at an energy that just needs to move, but look at what is kind of coming up that is repeating itself, that pattern that's repeating itself, so that you can kind of practice more, self-love, self-nurture, self-respect. Those are the types of things I feel like with that Five of Wands that we're taking a look at. The Queen of Cups is really an energy here that says right now, everything you're doing is on practicing how to receive, practicing how to, let yourself really break from a place that kept you a lot more isolated, or it kept you in a place where, you felt maybe you wanted something more but didn't know how to. The Queen of Cups basically says, can you receive new ways in which you want to feel, right? New ways in which you want to give yourself permission to go for very specific things in your life, because we have the Knight of Pentacles right above it. So that Queen of Cups is communicating to that Knight of Pentacles saying, you may not have given yourself permission to go for this very specific goal. And it's coming up for a reason now. The things that you're trying to create and how you feel, they're coming up for a reason. So I feel that you are going to be promised here that if you work with these energies, with what the cards are saying, you will be able to narrow down what it is that you want to do. Because there's going to be one last adjustment I feel like you're going to make at the end of this cycle. So what I want to do now is I want to clarify every single one of these cards. So we're going to simply go over each and every one of these cards and just dive a little bit deeper to give you a bit more information. So the very first card we're going to take a look at is the Ace of Cups. I feel like you are going to be in this place where you're wanting to move forward. And it has to do with exploring new values, you know, because your values are also changing during this Taurus season. Taurus season is all about values. It is all about self-worth. It is all about, you know, the measure up against what self-worth, you know, we have. So what's the measure, right? We all measure it somehow. In Taurus season, we are looking on how we're measuring it in the earthly life. You know, is it through the house we have, the car we have, the relationships we have? It could be all of those things. Everything in our life is a reflection of how we feel. Six of Hearts. And how we feel very often has to do, very often, okay, not 100% of the time, very often is something that, you know, gets created on the inward of ourselves. It's not our mind that creates the power. It is actually our heart that creates the power. And out of all of the signs, you know it well, because you are the person who understands the kind of protection a heart needs. And so for you, there is a bit of this allowing for yourself to slow down with Taurus season that is going to be coming up. Can you allow for yourself to slow down and take a look at how you want to move forward, you know? Because you are wanting to take a specific goal on, a specific risk. And it ties into money, but it also ties into a future goal, something you've dreamt of doing, something you've been wanting to do. You may not know exactly all of the details of it, but you know the feeling of it. You know what it is that you're looking for, but you can't do it alone. And that is what's going to come up. You cannot do it alone, okay? And because you can't do it alone, you realize very important things about yourself and how much you can trust yourself, actually. You know, it's always nice when we come back to that place where we can really trust ourselves, because so much of our life right now is about, you know, always being better, always like, you know, there's so much comparison in our world that we can't we can't slow down enough to see that we don't even have to participate or give agreement to those comparison kind of mindsets. Everything is always about, you know, change your mind and change your life and change this and change that. It's like, no, you know, everything we need is within our heart space, how we feel, how we move through the emotions. And sometimes I think we can get very much caught up in that kind of an energy field, and it's not our fault. It's just the way in which we collectively create that grit. So for you, there is a coming back home for how you feel right now. And how you feel right now is all about that you can trust yourself. And that feeling, when that comes up, you know, it makes me so like, it's so heartfelt, makes me almost want to cry for you guys, because I feel like you wanted to plug in like this to yourself. And that is what's going to promise you this new beginning. That when you are putting your effort into the life that you really want to live, the life that you really, you know, want to lead from your heart, it's going to mirror back who you need to become. What an incredible, you know, reading this is already. I just like, I feel really, I feel for you guys. Like whatever it is that you have been just trying to create more of in your life. It came with so much sacrifice. It's okay, because all that sacrificing that you've done, it's bringing you to the Queen of Cups this month. And you're going to realize here that you have people in your life that love you and that really support you, and that they're here, they've stayed. These people have staying power in your life, and they're going to be there for you. Look at this. I just like, you're just going to release this month, you know? You're going to release, look, they have staying power. Like, you're going to get all of the right messages this month to move on, to move forward, to break away from old ideas that used to limit you. Okay? They used to limit you. We have the 7. They used to not allow for you to change your mindset on certain things and make some changes happen. And you're going to be improving your finances now. It's only going up from here. You know, and what I mean by that is that everything you're improving will be driven from you. Everything you're improving will be driven from your heart. That is your intent. So the things that need to break away and break down in your life, let those things just happen and let them go. Because you can still hold on to your roots, but you don't have to hold on to it in the physical form. And that is what is going to be the biggest liberation for you this month. I'm going to take a look at your spiritual cards. What a beautiful reading so far. Look at, oh my gosh, the truth. Yeah, your truth, not anybody else's truth. Because when you're rooted in your truth, you tend to become really more intimate with that truth. And that truth, it leads you somewhere. It guides you somewhere. It takes you into a place, not because you need to take action, but because you are in a heartfelt space where you want to create something of a legacy. And fulfillment is right there. You don't have to go seek for it. It's not outside of yourself. It's not some other place that you need to go look for it. You know, it's just all within. And your actions don't have to mirror back some kind of validation that you are on a track of fulfillment. It just comes from you. Beautiful. The wombat spirit, it says, be at home. Oh my gosh. It's just like the cards, when we read the cards, when we move ourselves out of the way as a reader and we just read the cards, you know, we're able to experience what there is to experience, what the cards are saying. And I feel like that's where I'm at in the space for you right now. So yeah, it's beautiful the way that they are synchronized. And so the vulture spirit, nothing is wasted. And this is interesting because it came up in another reading. And we have a lot of vultures that live here where I live. And there is this path. We sometimes take our dog on a walk on this path, and there is a football field there, and the vultures, they gather around. They're very much creatures that like to stick to their tribe. They're together. And you can see, like, I don't know, 10 to 12 different vultures there that gather around, and they always look like they're having a secretive meeting. It's like the funniest thing to watch them, you know, because it's like they look so mean and so serious, and their spirit is very drawn in. You know, they don't really go out of their own, like, I feel like out of their own auric field, you know, they just don't expand like that. And they're very, so they travel together, and when they come together and they sit together, they actually spread their wings out. And at first, I had no idea, like, they were sitting there, they would just spread their wings and just kind of stay there. I had no idea why they were doing it. And turns out they're killing the germs underneath their wings, because the bottom part of their wings, they don't really see the sunlight a lot. So they use the vitamin D intuitively in order to, kill off anything that is underneath their wings. And I thought that that was so interesting to me because they're shedding basically light on the bottom part of their wing. And here you are seeing that as well, that you're shedding light onto the areas of your life that you felt like maybe it wasn't taking you anywhere, and creating sort of a lot of self-talk in regards to whether you were doing the work or not, which is somehow very important to you right now. And so with this vulture spirit right here, what we're seeing is you're going to be able to break away from that pattern. You're going to be able to break away and really see that you are. Nothing is wasted. Nothing, no choice you've ever made was the wrong choice. And that's what I'm seeing here for this cycle. So this is going to be the reading, the last final reading for this particular season, which is going to be for the new moon in Gemini, which is also a solar eclipse. This is going to be a very fast moving energy. A lot will change during this time. There is a lot of stuff that is going to be happening all around you. This month, actually, it will be a little bit less personal. It'll be a lot more in regards to observation. We're going to dive into that in just a moment. But the first thing that I would like to show you is that right as I was getting ready for this reading, I actually saw a nature omen. These come through sometimes for me. I have Jupiter in the third house. It speaks to me through the daily mind, the daily stuff that I'm doing. And this is what appeared, a spider. And when a spider appears, it can signal working with restoring personal power in relationships. It can also be a signal to start designing a life that you love, like now, versus, constantly kind of showing up for someone else's dream. It also is a signal or a awareness that comes into our life that has a lot to do to begin planning and staying diligent on the path. And lastly, to accept that certain outcomes need time so that your specific needs can be met, and that patience is key. So for many of you, I just wanted to relate that message because that was a very strong message for this reading, and I wanted to make sure that I shared that with you guys. So let's take a look at your cards. You can see here the entire phase that you're going to be in will be driven from the High Priestess position. That's the first opening card. This is from last month. Last month, you've been working on building a stronger together alliance with other people, but first it started within yourself to fortify more healthy connections in your life, relationships that really are your tribe. And so you've been narrowing it down. You've been also looking where this could be if there was a new sort of destination for you in regards to networking with people. And you continue to do this actually in this particular phase. What is different in this phase is that you come into it knowing that you're honoring the promise that you have made to yourself from last month. And so here the High Priestess is a huge message to only stick to what you want to do. Only stick to what you feel. You're going to witness a lot of people, Ten of Swords reversed, doing very strange things, saying a lot of strange things, having their reality a little bit shattered. This is going to be coming up. That solar eclipse and the way that the energies are going to play out, approximately 2.5 to 3.5 weeks. This is where the window is when you start this phase that you are going to see people really having to deal with stuff. You in particular are seeing it because there is something for you to contemplate about, which we have the Magician here. We have the Chariot followed right after. I just want to say this to you, that is the strongest combo you can get. The Magician with the Chariot followed right after. That is huge. We're going to dive into that in just a moment. Now, here you're seeing where you need to devote your time as well, the Ten of Swords, because what is happening during this time is that Pluto in particular, the way that Pluto is going to be moving and aspecting all throughout this season into the summer, we are going to be coming into a laser-like kind of energy where Pluto is going to ensure that it is cutting away the BS. There is going to be that kind of a feel all throughout, starting now, even further into the summer months. We're going to talk more about that, but it will you will feel it ahead of time, is what I'm trying to tell you. The High Priestess is basically saying you're going to be feeling it ahead of time. You're going to know that this is going to be unfolding. You can see it already within people. And it's going to be the subtle moments when no one is talking. Ten of Swords reversed. It's going to be in those moments where you're going to pick it up. You're going to pick up the currency. You're going to pick up that pulse. You're going to see what people are doing, what they're not saying, what is sort of behind the facade. This is going to be huge for you. You need to hear this because there is going to be a moment here where you're going to understand why you were going through the first two phases we've discussed. And so now what is happening is that you're placing your intention, or you're going to be placing your intention into all the right categories in your life. But again, you are working on this, you're mastering this more. And so here it is going to be really, really important that you get a little bit of time for yourself to process things. Okay. The Ten of Swords reversed again is an energy that is not necessarily you being all in a place where you're frazzled. It is going to be your observation of other people. And I think sometimes what can happen is that this can, create a little bit of this fast moving energy that you may not want to be in all the time. So this month, I feel that you need to take some time to gather your thoughts. That's what I'm wanting to say. So let's start with the High Priestess, the very first card. I'm just gonna start diving right into the clarification of these cards because I feel like that's what we need to do for this energy right over here. This High Priestess directly has to do with your legacy. It has to do with what you're attracting into your legacy. It also has to do with your promise that you've made to yourself from last month. And it has to do with surrounding yourself with those who inspire you. There are some people that inspire you, and you are focusing here on those relationships, but those relationships are also creating the space for you to focus on you in your career as well. So some career aspects here will become super important, and you're starting to see yourself for the first time in a different light when it comes to your career. You're starting to see yourself as someone who really has a lot to offer in your career. This is going to become very evident. Straight to the point, this is you, the king of clubs. You're a teacher, a leader, someone who has the knowledge to bring to other people. This is going to become very evident. It's going to be knocking on your door in your energy field, okay? You're going to get interactions here with other people where they will also be recognizing this within you. And that's huge because this ability right here, the combo between the High Priestess and the King of Clubs has to do, the combo of those two cards, it will have to do with you having the ability to see something from the beginning to the end. Okay, that is what this is going to be about. That is what the skill is. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to be able to see the thing that you need to see from the beginning to the end. And because you're in that space, what happens is you see that people are breaking down right now with the energies that are going on. Everyone's thoughts are going to be pouring out into the open. But what is happening is that they don't even, during this time, a lot of people are not going to realize that they have devoted their time and efforts in the wrong places, that their mind has sort of played tricks on them. Okay, I know it sounds really weird, but we're going to be working that out actually all throughout this year and into the first 3 months of 2022. So what's happening right now is that you're realizing that there is sort of a opportunity inside of all of this to create a new plan. Things you had not taken into consideration will be taken into consideration because whatever it is that your skill set is, there is a belief that is getting sort of, that's surfacing, that has a lot to do with what you're teaching or what your skill set is. So your belief about yourself here gets challenged in a subtle way by other people. It's really interesting because what you're observing is sort of telling you a lot about what shapes your mindset. Really interesting energy. It's great because you are learning what, why, and where your beliefs are talking to you. This is so incredible, okay? Then you will be able to make your point from here on out. This is also another key aspect because everything you're doing comes from your heart, okay? Everything you're doing comes from your heart, more aligned than ever before. And this is very clear. 9 of Clubs. The Magician, you are now in a place of contemplation, okay? Because of what your challenges are here this month with belief by other people in a subtle way, like people are sharing something and then it makes you thoughtful. You are then going into this place of contemplation, in a place of practicing more mindfulness. You will be actually in that space where you're going to want to do that. And the reason for that is also because, you know, there is sort of a lifestyle change that you're trying to create, and it's time to reinvent your lifestyle. It's time to reinvent who you are to yourself in the day-to-day. And when you get to that place, allow things to shift naturally. We're going to go back to that in just a moment. There's a lot more to it. There's no cards falling out for this Magician. We're going to go back to it, clarify with another set of cards. The Chariot. This Chariot card followed by the Magician is like the best combo of cards you can get. Because the Magician brings clarity, the Chariot brings movement forward with what you had clarity over, because when we're clear, we're actually able to be a lot more in alignment. There's no opposing forces now that have to struggle. They are together. They're working together. What does that mean? Well, this is heart and mind. Okay? This is where you understand that it's not your mind that fuels your heart. It's actually your heart that directs your mind. This is going to be the key. I'll say this again. It's not the mind that fuels the heart. It's the heart that fuels the mind. It's the heart that leads the thoughts. So if you don't love something and you don't listen to your intuition, it doesn't matter how many times you think your mind can go into a powerful positive thought. If there is something that is not in alignment with your heart space, like you love it, like every cell of your body is excited to do this thing, right now, the universe is showing you that you are in that place. You are in the place of reconciling this area of your life, which is your magic, your magical power, which is your superpower this month. Okay? The Magician is going to be an opportunity, 2 opportunities, one in career and one actually that is going to be a really interesting combo by someone who is challenging you. Someone's really trying to kind of challenge what it is that you're doing and welcome it. And we're going to dive into why, because this is what is making you answer to yourself about your fears. Because those fears that are coming up, also, there's some collective fears. There's also some of your own fears about whether you should continue or not. There is a little bit of this 21, the world reversed here in this reading is like, I don't know if I should. Do I have to do more work on myself? Something like this is going to be coming up as an inquiry. I'm telling you right now, just with this reading, no. You've done so much work on yourself that right now it is about understanding that you're supported in all of the right ways, but you are the one that now needs to drive the miracles forward in your life. This is going to be very important. Because you can see yourself all the way to the end, whatever is happening in between is something that must be experienced because it adds on fuel on the path. Okay, so that's first thing. The second thing is also there is an opportunity with career. It might be at a different destination. It might be that you're being asked to teach somewhere. It might be that you are also collaborating with other people to teach somewhere. 5 of Clubs. Yep. Five of Clubs here. You are having to put together sort of maybe a project or some intellectual project that has to do a lot with like a talk or gathering information. Some effort is going to be required here, but I feel like you're going to be able to do that easily once you get started. Again, there's a little bit of this energy like, should I do it? Should I do it? You're looking for proof. Don't look for the proof. The proof is on the other side of what it is that you're wanting to do. And I think the most important thing is here to realize you have the skills, push forward. Not easy, because sometimes we don't get the validation. And right now, the way that Pluto is going to be moving, we might not get that validation right away. It is going to be one that we are going to have to trust within ourselves, not outside of ourselves. Okay, so that is very, very important. How to navigate this hesitation energy. How to navigate this hesitation energy. What do we need to know about that? Nothing coming out yet. Interesting. There you go. Stick to your skills. Yep. Stick to your skills. Have faith in the perfect timing. So simple. Like this month, everything you're doing, it is in regards to step-by-step action that lead to a bigger picture later. Not right now, because of the way that the energies are. We're finishing up these eclipse energies that will also tie into other areas of our life. You know, the eclipses, they tend to have a little bit of a longer lasting impact. So we may not feel it right away. But I feel very strongly, in particular with this solar eclipse in Gemini, we're going to see the actual consequences of this solar eclipse and what we are to deal with and our spirit's mission about 3 weeks after. That's what I feel very, very strongly. So this is a time to take an opportunity to recreate aspects of your life and lifestyle so that you can aim higher. You're going up higher, remember. So stick to your skills. The Six of Pentacles, very interesting here. There's someone here who is, they're trying something. What is it that they're trying? Okay, so the thing that comes up here is that they kind of are, couple of things that come up, okay? There are things that are happening right now with a set of people in your life that you are moving away from. And because you're moving away from them, you're creating a much more solid foundation for yourself, and you're moving towards the people who hold that kind of a space for you as well, who believe in you, who open that kind of space, who are there, you know, just creating sort of a space where there's not a whole lot of limiting mindsets, okay? Even though that, you know, we're dealing with that opposition right now as well, because there's a lot of people that don't realize what is causing for them to move backwards with their mindsets because their heart wasn't aligned, okay? So here, what is happening is that someone's kind of, you're gonna see that there is a person who kind of looks at you as a very, like you only have, you know, something to add to them, but they don't necessarily want to give that back to you. And out of that is born a situation where someone who is going to be helping you here is stepping in through a very unexpected conversation. It's divine intervention. And this person is going to become a friend. This person is becoming a friend. And the reason why they're becoming a friend is because you have this specific project and there is a necessary task attached to it, and this person is going to be able to do it. Like, they're going to be able to do it. They're going to make you feel secure. Something about that partnership creates actually stability. And so this is where creating a solid new partnership is being born. So stay open to receiving this help, because you guys are going to create a very meaningful thing here. It's going to be a blessing. And that's what I'm seeing for this, the rest of this. I am going to take the other card deck here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull messages for each of the rows and then also see if there's something that falls out for the Magician. All right. So there is a moment here to understand the mark that you're making on the world, the mark that you're making in your environment, the skill sets that you have. You're able to kind of sit down for a moment and see this aspect of yourself. But you're also having to see how far you've come and where you're wanting to go. That needs a plan, and you got to take this time right now. You're creating pillars in your life that will allow for people to stand with you there side by side. This is also very important for you to realize that right now you may not see all of the proof for that. You are to trust it because it is coming from within you. Something is pushing you to awaken in this area. Okay, so your skill set, that's what we're talking about. So the Magician here very much has to do with you saying to yourself at some point, I feel like within the first 10 days of this eclipse that is going to unfold, you are pushing yourself to say, I'm starting now. Okay, I'm starting now, but be patient, which was also the spider message, you know, be patient. Yep, because you're building something of long-lasting value in your life. When the nodes come into North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio, pretty much starting next year, you are going to see everything you're doing right now is going to be like a solid new foundation that is going to be very spiritual in nature, very rewarding in nature. But right now it is all about being methodical, drawing up the plan. And this new plan is going to be like, it's coming to you. You realize it. Your spiritual messages are fulfillment, action. Yes. I don't really need to say any more about this. Like we already talked about it. Everything you're doing right now, it is leading to more fulfillment in your life. It is just really that simple. We have the vulture spirit again for you. Nothing that you're doing right now is wasted. And I also want to say, go back to the other segment to kind of have me talk about the vulture spirit again. For this unfoldment in this phase, this vulture basically is also going to show you here, that vulture spirit is showing you during this particular season that everything that you're doing at this time, all of the resources are there, and you're going to find actually a resource that you purchased a while back, something you purchased a while back that is going to come in handy now, and you're going to be happy that you did it. We have the butterfly spirit, and that is basically just saying like you're really just becoming a lot more sovereign. Okay, sovereign in this area of career, building alliances, building for the future. This is what you're setting in motion, and that's what I'm seeing here for this month for you, Cancer. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. If you want to work with me, once again, all of the information is in the description below this video, or you can go to upriserastrology.com. I do have a reading on sale right now. That is a recorded reading that I send to you. It is a tarot reading if you want to have even more specific messages to your life, then you get to work with me that way too if you chose to. Subscribe, stay on my channel for a while. If you've liked this reading, give this video a thumbs up, let me know how you're doing, and I will talk to you soon.